Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt us if we got started just a minute early. Let's go ahead and call the meeting. I'm sorry, we're going to start tonight with a beer board meeting. So let's go ahead and start, and I'll turn it over to Vice Mayor Satterfield to conduct the beer board meeting.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. All right, I'll open the beer board meeting at 6:58. We have a special event beer permit for the Smoky Mountain Scottish Festival of Games for May the 16th to the 17th. This permit we have approved before. Chief Condi has reviewed it also. City Manager, you've reviewed this also. I've also reviewed it and I see no issues with the permit. Now your copy might not have the notarized stamp on it, but mine does, so it has been notarized.
Very good. Well, thank you, Vice Mayor, for leading us through that. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the special event beer permit for Smoky Mountain Scottish Festival and Games for the dates of May 16 through 17, 2026.
I second the motion for the Smoky Mountain Scottish Games.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the beer permit?
I've got a question.
Okay.
Where is the Smoky Mountain Event Center? Where this is located?
That's the partnership property.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's called the Smoky Mountain Event Center.
Can I make a comment? On the front page and then the next page, can we update the submission to an email address?
Yes, thank you, Betty.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. We'll take care of that.
I just noticed it.
Yeah.
Just
No, that's a good catch.
Are there any further questions? Okay, if there's no further questions, then all those in favor to approve the beer permit for the Smoky Mountain Scottish Games and Festival, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the beer permit's approved. And I'll close the beer board meeting at 7:01.
Do you want these back since it's got some personal information on there?
Yeah, yeah, which is why those didn't, why we don't post those on the website.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's go ahead and say the Pledge of Allegiance as we begin our regular Board of Commissioners meeting. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. And I see that we're following, once again, our new format, and that is to begin with the adoption of our agenda. So I'd like to see if anybody has any changes that they would like to see in our agenda tonight, and they could make that known. And in addition, I would entertain a motion to adopt our agenda. I need a first and a second on that. So anybody would like to make any changes in our agenda for this evening?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second. If we wanted to ask a question or something, does that have to be on here, or is that just, we can just ask a question at some point?
Commissioners can still ask questions.
Okay.
Okay, I've
I'll
got a
second.
motion and a second to adopt our agenda as written. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of adopting our agenda tonight for our regular commission meeting, January 20th, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our agenda is adopted. Now, the next section on our agenda is something we introduced at one of our class meetings in November, and this is a consent calendar. And so this information is provided to commissioners ahead of time, and we will take all these different items that we used to go through sort of one at a time and take them all as part of the consent calendar and vote to approve the reports that are provided herein along with the minutes. And so I'll give you just a minute. You received all these reports in advance of the meeting. And while we are taking a look at those one more time, I'll turn to City Manager and see if there's any comments you'd like to make on our use of the consent calendar.
Just a reminder that if there is something that you would like to discuss, you can object to it being on the consent calendar. At that time, that item will come out. It will become item number 1 under new business. We will discuss that and have discussion on that. Then you can vote to approve that. Also remember on the minutes, you're really just accepting those. Those are minutes, but the reports, those are information only. Those would have been at the time, verbal report, first time hearing in the past. So it's just a way to streamline that. But if you had a question and you're like, hey, what did this mean, or can you explain this deeper, you would just simply say, I object to the fire department being on the consent calendar. I'd like that to be removed. There's no vote on that. At that point, that goes down to number 1 under new business.
Thank you, City Manager. Okay. Would anybody like to pull one out? Do they object to any of these items, or can we continue as the consent calendar?
Make a motion to continue.
Okay.
I have one that I'd like to pull out, and that's the community plan.
Okay. Pull out the community plan. We can make that item number 1 under new business. Any others? Okay. With the removal of the community plan report, can we make a motion, Commissioner Hedrick, is this your motion to adopt the remainder of the consent calendar?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt the consent calendar with removing the community plan report.
Okay, thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent calendar? Hearing none. All in favor of adopting the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, none opposed. Those items are adopted. That brings us down to the next section of our meeting, public input or items on the agenda.
Oh, wait, we need to accept or vote on the meeting minutes, number 1?
I think that's what we did as part of the consent calendar, is we adopted the meeting minutes. City Manager, is that you're on the way it works?
It's not listed.
Okay, so it should have been under, I should have just had 1, and the minutes is under it.
So yes, you should have asked to pull number 1. So under consent calendar, the number 1 is minutes of commission regular session on the 18th of 2005.
So is that separate than the?
That's part of the consent calendar.
Okay,
Yeah, and then he pulled under number 2 under E, the community plan.
okay.
If I had understand that it was all included, I would have asked for the minutes to be pulled out, since I was not here. I can't
Okay.
approve.
Mr. Chairman, up to the chair on the confusion, on.
Well, I got some clarification, I think, on approving a minutes of the meeting. And so what I have understood is that even if you weren't in attendance, doesn't necessarily mean you have to abstain or things like we should have been doing, or that we were doing before. It was not totally necessary. But we can make a note, Commissioner Jenkins, if that would be helpful, and put it in our meeting minutes for tonight, that you did not attend that
I did
meeting.
not attend, and I cannot, in good faith, approve.
And I wasn't.
And Commissioner Hedrick, you want that as well?
Yeah.
So how about we do that? We'll put that in the minutes of tonight's meeting, that neither of you were in attendance on that. And then next time, we'll make sure that we're clear on how that operates. Acceptable? Okay. All right. Well, that will take us down then to public input for items on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up to speak tonight?
Jeff?
Mr. Riddle?
Jeff Riddle, 134 Myers Road. I wasn't going to say anything, but what just happened? I came here tonight, I would have been here at 5, right, because there wasn't a meeting at 5.
Correct.
It was canceled, but it was still on the front page that there was a meeting. I just happened to, somebody told me it was on Facebook that there wasn't a meeting. So, I was, because I wanted to know what was going on with Parks and Rec, because you usually get a Kelsey report that's read publicly.
Mm-hmm.
The community plan report, I was wondering what's going on with that. The finance report, what's our finances, because you got the ordinance thing about. So, do I have to come up here and ask y'all to pull those out and read them to us in a public meeting, or how?
Let me,
What's going on with?
yes, sir, I
Like,
take your point, and I'll,
Would the city manager, shouldn't he give us his report like he normally does? Because it sure seems like you're not wanting to tell us information. Now, you're probably going to tell us it's available, but there's nothing available back there on that, back there. So.
it's a fair comment.
You should have started with explaining what you were doing before you could do it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Riddle. That's a fair point. We did talk about this, I think, in November, about using the consent calendar. The county uses something like this. We've gotten some feedback that our meetings could operate more smoothly. And one of the things that we're trying out is the use of this consent calendar. So having feedback on that is helpful. And I know that folks have been accustomed to coming to the meeting and hearing the different reports. We always love hearing Commissioner Satterfield's reports on Parks and Rec. But in order to try to make things more efficient, I think what we're doing is making this material available to everyone. We have been working to try to put more of our packet online. I appreciate, and I'm going to turn to the city manager to help provide some information on this discussion. But city manager, is it the case that we're able to put this stuff online now? And we put it online?
Let me first say, and I will continue on this, but I want to make this point. Robert's Rules of Order, input for items not on the agenda, we usually don't respond. And that's, if you go to the courthouse, if you go anywhere, that's usually the way it is. The meetings were running long. We were trying to get away to make them run more efficiently. Our website went down over the weekend. I was here yesterday, and it was closed for several hours, working with different companies trying to get the website back up and running. The idea, I don't have a printer right now. We're working towards that. You'll see some IT expense coming up. I don't have a printer where I can churn out lots of copies of something. The idea is to have that on the website so that you can. The idea is to have it available for you, but we're working towards it. But to to make sure that we run as efficient as we can, and to make sure that we can answer and take care of the city's business, going to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night like some were. We say we run by Robert's Rules of Order. We're trying to make it more running towards Robert's Rules of Order. So.
I take the comments.
These reports that you're not gonna do was not the reason you were going later on some of the meetings. I'll guarantee you I was here.
And this is,
Well, all right, we're gonna try.
So basically, we have no community report because the city don't have a website that's able to have them on there right now. And y'all don't have a printer that works.
Well,
So,
I appreciate the input, and that's helpful. So anytime we have a new change in our format, your point, which is well taken, is that we ought to talk about it ahead of time so that people know what to expect, and we ought to be able to execute and deliver on that so that people get the information that they want. People will take time to come and attend our meetings so that they can get that information, and we do a lot of things to make sure that we're making as much transparency as we can, including recording the meetings and putting those online. So we are trying a new format, and I appreciate the feedback that you're providing us on the format.
so was there already public comment about this, or was it, because I admittedly, I've been gone and doing family stuff.
We introduced it back in November, and I think we actually followed this format in November, and we didn't have a meeting in December. And so we have utilized it, and we have been talking about it, but I'm sorry, Jeff, because I know you come to a lot of our meetings.
So this packet of information is on the website for November? Where is that?
And for January, if you go in there on the front page, you'll find a link where you can search in the bar for meeting agendas.
Yeah, I did that because I looked at the agenda.
But all the consent calendar information was on there for January for this meeting.
But
It's
in
just
November,
unfortunate our website went down.
was it on November?
You uploaded it in November. I believe.
so,
Yeah, and the CPAC notice was put on the website this morning because I couldn't over the weekend because the website went down.
Yeah, we were hiking all day.
But I did put it on Facebook, and I believe I dated it the date I got the notice.
so this is a process that we're developing, Jeff, and I think if you want to come talk to me after the meeting, probably more appropriate time to talk to them. I'm not trying to hold any information back.
This should be a public
I do think
conversation,
that,
not a private.
I do think that by Robert's Rules of Order, we really shouldn't, you're allowed to come and give your opinion, but this back and forth, so we're 15 minutes into it, so this is something that definitely is a process we're working on. Definitely is a process that we can refine and that we're making the information available. Obviously, we have some things to work on and we're working on it. Nobody's deliberately holding any information back at all from anybody.
Well, thank you very much, and again, I appreciate the input because we do want to make sure that our citizens get all the information that's available to them, and we want to make sure that we're also trying to constantly improve. So I applaud City Manager, City Recorder's work to try to get more information up online. We spent several months and lots of hours talking about, some desire to be able to do that. And I shared, our desire to try to, get better and be able to put more information up. And I think we're trying to respond to that as we're trying to improve our processes. So I'm grateful for the input.
I've got a question about this whole thing. So for February meeting, let's don't talk about today, let's talk about February meeting. The citizens ought to be able to go on the website 3 days before the meeting, find the agenda, and find the supporting reports that they can read before the meeting. Okay, I just want to make sure I understand what will happen for February's meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Jenkins. we actually said what you just said, more or less, in November.
Yeah, but that didn't happen for January.
But that is the aim, and we're getting there. You know, it's taken a little bit of time, but we are making significant progress in getting there. And so I will say that, you know, just because I've got an opportunity here now to talk about some of our IT challenges, city manager has really been working hard to address some of those IT challenges that we've had. And I think due to those efforts, we're going to be able to have a lot better systems in place that will support putting information up essentially like we've never been able to do before. And so we are, I think, you know, making good progress toward addressing those things. And it's right to bring up input and provide those feedbacks. And so I'm grateful for that. Commissioner Hendrick?
We also need, because a lot of people don't have internet access or a computer or know how to do things, that have it back there for people to pick up as well.
Yeah, have some sort of a packet. I think we can take a look at being able to provide that. Some of these packets, like what we're envisioning to put up, would be fairly robust, lots of pages, easier to do electronically than have, you know, sometimes we've got 50 people in this room, and I don't know if that's feasible, but I think your point is well taken, Commissioner Hendrick, that having something printed could also be valuable.
Or maybe have it on the sign-in sheet, yes, I need a printed copy or something, where you don't have extras, but somebody.
I think that's a reasonable suggestion, and trying to figure out how many printed copies we might need and be able to have that available to folks. You know, I really feel like having public engagement and transparency is important, and we're doing the very best we can, I think, to respond to the comments, and any criticism is a gift. And so I'm grateful for the gifts that y'all have shared with us tonight, and we'll continue to get better. Any other public input? Okay, hearing none, Commissioners, let's move on to the next item, unfinished business. We don't have any unfinished business. And we'll come down to the community plan report. So in your packet, there was a update under the city manager's report about the community plan. And city manager, I don't know if you want to speak to that.
I think it'd be good, probably a good time to address that.
Okay.
So as y'all know, we're working on the community plan with the CPAC committee. The chairman and I spoke. There's nothing new for them to act on, which is why they did not have a meeting. The holdup is a documentation from East Tennessee Development District. I have been in contact with them. We're going to meet them next month. There seems to be some confusion over what we requested and what they think were requested for final for that documentation. Talked with Ida from SE Group, the company that is putting together the plan. That is what they need according to her. The last piece is the updated of the land use and transportation plan. So as soon as we get that updated from the East Tennessee Development, we're going back and forth right now on when and how, but in the short term, hopefully we get that back from them. And that is the last piece, waiting for the plan for CPAC to get back to look at the completed plan, to pass it on to the planning commission for them to look at. So that's where the holdup is on that. So that's why there's no meeting. That's why there's no report. There's nothing new to report until we get that plan done.
Is there a date where we think it's going to be available? Are we shooting for March 1st? Are we shooting for next September? What are we doing?
That's why I'm going down when I leave East Tennessee Development District.
Because it seems like this process has drug on and drug on and drug on.
Yeah, we're going to come to a conclusion one way or the other.
And I thought when it all started, there was a set thing, East Tennessee Development District was going to do this, SC Group was going to do that. Why is there, and it's been over a year plus, there should have been clear-cut things of what they were supposed to deliver.
Yes, but my understanding is on that clear-cut thing, there was a difference of opinion between East Tennessee Development and the committee, and that's what we're going to work out. I think they know what they're supposed to give to the city. I think it's the format, and exactly what that looks like is what the issue is.
But they've been involved with the committee the entire time. Why now are they just now having?
I agree, I find the answer out.
And that's one of the things that for the budget amendment too, right? Are they asking for more money to do that?
No, that is
Totally separate?
that's totally separate.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can address that with you, but that is completely separate. Nobody's asked for any more money, nor have we committed or any more money for the plan.
Okay.
What we're doing is trying to get this thing put together and done, and so.
Okay. Any further questions on the community plan?
So there is no date in the future where you think you're gonna have it done?
There's no date.
And there's no more money we're gonna give East Tennessee Development District to get this done. They quoted a price.
Not without your direction.
Yeah, but I mean, we quoted them a price, they should deliver the product they
Oh,
quoted, and that's, should be it.
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion, remember, I'm fairly new to this process as well, catching up, and I think that, I think we can get there. We're just gonna have to have some frank conversations.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, City Manager. Let's move on to the next item under new business. This is ordinance number 352-26-1C, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the City of Townsend, Tennessee for fiscal year 2025-2026. I'll read this, and then I'll see if we can get motion and a second up for discussion. This is ordinance number 352-26-1C, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the City of Townsend, Tennessee for fiscal year 2025-2026. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Title 9, Chapter 1, Section 116 requires funds first be appropriated before being expended, and that no appropriations may exceed available funds. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Title 6, Chapter 56, Section 208 allows amendment of the budget ordinance in the same manner as any other ordinance may be amended. Whereas the city will incur additional expenditures not known when the original budget was passed, and whereas funds are not yet appropriated for these items, now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners for the City of Townsend, Tennessee, that Section 1, Appropriations, the governing body appropriates the following. And there's a table. And the table has 5 columns. And the first column is entitled General Fund. The second column doesn't have a title, and it's got a description of certain sections in the General Fund. The third column is entitled Original Budget. The fourth column is entitled Amended Budget. And the fifth column and the last column is entitled Difference. This table has 4 rows, the first row being those headers I just described, and then the 3 rows underneath the first column, General Fund, 41990:232, description being IT website support. In the original budget, this was $21,000. The amended budget is $35,000, and the difference is $14,000. The next row is 41700-259. This is the community plan. The original budget was $25,000. The amended budget is $34,000, and the difference is $9,000. And the fourth row in the table is 41990:610, described as public notices. The original budget was $460. The amended budget is $2,000. and the difference being $2,040. Next section of this ordinance is submission to the Director of Local Finance. This amendment will be submitted to the Director of the Office of State and Local Finance as required by state statute to show continued compliance with the requirements of Tennessee Code Annotated Title IX, Chapter 21, Section 403, to maintain a balanced budget. And that is, looks like, City Manager, this is Section 3 that I just read. Is that correct? Okay, and the table, I guess, is Section 2.
Yeah, that should be.
Okay. All right, and then we have on this ordinance passed on first reading, passed on second reading, and the signature lines. Commissioners, may I get a motion and a second up to discuss this ordinance?
I make a motion to accept the ordinance 352-26-1C.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Vice Mayor Satterfield. Any discussion on this? Maybe I'll actually turn to City Manager if you want to explain any of these budget items. Maybe you can walk us through some of these amendments.
I'll take them one at a time. The IT website support, that the main cost on that, really most of that cost is Allevia Technologies. We've discussed this, I believe, in November as well. That is the IT company that we have hired to manage our IT services. That pays for them to, about anything that would happen IT-wise. If we have trouble with our computers, if we have trouble with certain programs, if we need new emails, if we have something wrong with the hardware, software, server, we call them, they take care of it. It's a month-to-month fee. We're not under contract. So while I really hope you all do pass this, if you do not, this is not money that's been spent. This is a month-to-month contract. I will say with the website issue that we had yesterday, GoDaddy has our website domain right now. They do not. Allevia we don't pay them to host our website. They fixed the problem for us because they knew we had a meeting coming up tonight, and I said, I've got to get it back up and running. We also went through GoDaddy, not much help, but Allevia, within a few hours, we were getting emails back, hey, your website's up and it's running. So, and then we had an issue with our server. The fan kicking on, it was overheating, it was disconnecting from our network, so we were having trouble getting to our financials. Right away they came in, diagnosed the problem, fixed it. It was a UPS battery backup, which I would not have thought that, but apparently it's causing it to go into some sort of system check because it wasn't getting enough current, and that was causing it to overheat. So they've already helped us out a lot, and will continue to help us as we try to catch up IT-wise. The community cleaning, that $9,000, so the $25,000 in the original budget, that was the East Tennessee Development District payment. The $9,000 was the last payment for SE Group. My understanding, it was in last year's budget. It was not spent, it was not paid to them last year. It wasn't billed until this year, but it was not reappropriated this year. So that's money that you've already approved. It was not spent in last budget year, so being reappropriated for this budget year. And that is under the existing contract with them. So that finished our obligation and payment with them. They, I will say, they have been great to work with as far as being understanding that, yes, we should have a plan for them, but we don't to put in, and they have been great along the way, and they've assured us that they are going to be with us to the end of the process and not just write us off because another entity wasn't prepared yet. So, public notices, that one got me. I knew we'd done some public notices, but apparently that one is kind of my fault. While that was the city manager, the advertisement and what was done for the city manager position was a chunk of that. So that's
On that, I just looked at it. The difference between 2,416 is 1,540. Should it be 1,540 instead of 2,040?
That's the,
Yeah.
no,
Thank you, Commissioner Henry.
Only question I have, the 3,000 a month for the IT website support, sounds like they're doing a great job and are on top of it. But for that amount of money, could you possibly get a part-time person to do it? Or how?
so, we've had that in the past. Most IT is fairly expensive, as y'all know, and the people that have that skill set, to hire somebody with that skill set. So we have them available full-time. We just don't use it full-time, so we have them available on call when we need them. Where if you had somebody working like that, and what's happened in the past is they've had another job, we're secondary to that job, and they've been great, and nothing against anybody that's worked for us, but we're their second, we're not the primary concern. Being a client, it's like we have our own IT department, so, and then a lot of that, we do have a lot of their software. We bought a lot of their safety software as far as cybersecurity, also software that would allow me to remote in if I needed to. And then we've also got one that I thought was very important, piece of software that holds all of our passwords. So if something happens to me, if something happens to Galen, they come in and sit down and boom, you're up and running immediately. They go in and make sure. They also manage, like I said, and that can't be understated, they don't manage our website on that. So the website will be the new website and that we're working on. That will be hosted by that company. They do offer hosting, but the company that we're going to, with the new app and the new website, which, by the way, I think we're going to say announcements, but that, Gail's been heading that up. We've had several meetings and we're close to getting that up and going. We've got a few things with the Apple developer that we have to work on in it. But I'm going to sidetrack on that, sorry. I think it's money well spent. I know it's expensive, but IT is expensive, and also we run into some IT issues. And it just helps with the transparency. It helps with day-to-day work. It's just, we're years behind right now. We're catching up. From where I came from, and given the county has a lot more resources and has its own IT department, but be able to work share, active domain, all these things that help us run the office more efficiently, to where maybe there's not as much frustration on the other end. This is the biggest piece of the puzzle.
And where would that 14,000, where would we be able to pull that from?
So this will come out of general fund. These will come out of general fund. So next year's budget, that's what we've got. That will be a discussion for next year's budget on where we fund these things from. And like I said, the good thing is this, especially with the Liga, it's a month to month. And we do have an opportunity to pare down. So if we get months into this and like, this piece we're really not using, we can stand that piece down. Right now, we need all the help we can get.
I need more information about the community plan overspend. We're talking $34,000 versus 25. I don't understand that.
So my understanding is the amount that you passed last year's budget to pay SE Group, that all of that total amount was spent except for $9,000. So that $9,000 from last year went back into the general fund. It was not reappropriated on this year's budget. So we got a bill from SE Group saying per the contract, you still owe us $9,000. We had to pay that per the contract. So that's the overspent. It was approved, last year's budget didn't get spent, turned back into the general fund. Should have been reappropriated on this new budget. It wasn't, so we'll have to come back to you for reappropriation.
Have we already read that check?
that's been paid. We're
So we
contractually obligated.
appropriated it last year, but we didn't spend it.
Correct.
And so, yeah. Okay.
So I was under the impression that we were paying them monthly. They were billing us monthly. I don't quite understand how there could still be money due when they were billing us monthly.
It was in installments. And so this was the last 9,000. So as far as SE Group is concerned, they completed the contract. And I've not heard anything to the contrary. But they have said, hey, we're still willing to work with you. We're still willing to fit this piece into the overall plan, which is the updated land use and transportation plan, which is what's holding everything up. So SE Group, to my understanding, and by what was in the contract, my understanding, they feel their obligations to the city. What's holding that up is East Tennessee Development.
So I'm still not clear. East Tennessee Development District is holding up the process, and they deliver whatever they got to deliver. It goes to SE Group, and SE Group has to do work on it.
They feed it into their plan, right? So their idea, that's part of the rub, right? Their idea is East Tennessee Development gives them pretty much a finished product. They work it into the main, the big plan, right? And then that comes to CPAC, to Planning Commission, to Commission. So we're waiting on that piece to be plugged in, and that's the rub on how that's done and what that looks like. So that's what I need to work out within this week or next week. We're going to have a meeting. So by next month, I should be able to tell you a lot more where we're at. That's my goal.
Okay. You must be hard-headed and still clear as mud with me.
Well, I think they are in charge of the final document, so the final polishing of the document, they have to get text from ETDD to put into the final document, and that's what they're waiting on. Okay. Any further discussion on the amendments to our annual budget? Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve this on first reading. I'll call the question. All in favor of approving ordinance number 352-26-1C, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Opposed? Because you've already paid some of the stuff without it being allocated. And up top it says, funds being appropriated for being expended. And you've already,
Okay, so the motion passes with 3 yea votes, and we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. On the agenda is ordinance number 353-26-1C. And this is an ordinance amending the city special event permit ordinance, transferring approval authority from the city commission to the city manager. And so I'll read the ordinance and I'll ask for a motion in a second so we can get it up for discussion. This is ordinance number 353-26-1C, an ordinance to amend Title IX, Chapter 5, Sections 9-503, 9-506, and 9-507 of the City of Townsend Municipal Code to grant permit approval authority to the city manager or their designee. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the City of Townsend adopted Title IX, Chapter 5 of the city's municipal code for the regulation of special events in the City of Townsend, and whereas the purpose of this code is to provide a coordinated process for managing community events to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare of event patrons, residents, and visitors, and whereas this code provides for fees, charges, and procedures required to administer the permit process, and whereas the Board of Commissioners find it in the best interest of the residents of the City of Townsend to update the ordinances from time to time, now therefore be it ordained that the Board of Commissioners for the City of Townsend, Tennessee, hereby approves the amendments to Municipal Code Title IX, Chapter 5, to read as follows. 9-503, permit or notice required. Number 2, permit required. No person, firm, corporation, or organization shall participate in, advertise for, or in any way promote, organize, control, manage, solicit, or induce participation in a special event or private gathering where a temporary street closure is requested unless a special event packet has first been submitted to and approved by the city manager or their designee. 9-507, criteria for approval. All applications for a special event permit shall be submitted to the city recorder and shall be reviewed and acted upon by the city manager or their designee. Number 1, when reviewing a request for a special event permit, the city manager or their designee may establish any additional conditions deemed necessary to ensure compatibility with adjacent land uses and to minimize potential adverse impacts on nearby uses, including but not limited to the following. Number 2, the city manager or their designee shall have the right to deny a special event permit for any reason deemed sufficient, including but not limited to. Be it further ordained that this ordinance takes effect from the final passage and that any part of any proper ordinance to the contrary is hereby declared null and void and the public welfare requirement. And then we have some signature pages passed and adopted by Board of Commissioners, passed on first reading and passed on second reading and the signature. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the ordinance 353-26-1C.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 353-26-1C.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, we've had this special events ordinance in place for several years now, and we've continued to update and refine the special events ordinance. One of the things that we did when we put this ordinance in place is we made the Board of Commissioners responsible for approving each and every special event application. And I thought that was a good idea at the time because I thought it would give the Board of Commissioners some experience with the types of special events that are held here in Townsend and give us an opportunity to see firsthand some of those challenges and things that present themselves. Recognizing that there are many events that have been held sometimes for decades in the city of Townsend, but maybe as a group we hadn't all been able to take a look at those. So for the last few years, since we've had this special event ordinance in place, we've had all these things coming to the Board of Commissioners. Now that's not very usual. In most cities, these special event permit is generally approved by city staff. But I thought that was a good idea at first, and that's how we wrote the ordinance. And I think at this point we do have quite a lot of experience. One of the things that I would observe is that now that we're familiar with most of these events, most of them don't cause any disruption to our citizens or residents and are frequently approved. And so when we require them to come before the Board of Commissioners, it requires that the event organizer will have to come on the third Tuesday and give us some details about that event. Sometimes we've run into some problems with that. People have not really understood, or we've not been able to make that part of the process work. But again, it takes up a significant amount of time at this point, I think, for our commission meetings going through these special event approvals. So now might be the time to consider delegating this back to city staff as it is in most communities. So that's my reflection on it. I would just ask city manager if you have any thoughts that you want to share on this as part of our discussion.
Yeah, I thought you handled that well, Mayor. I don't know if I gave much to that, except for, also I think a major driver to this is going to be the contract that the city has with the partnership with Smoky Mountain Tourism Authority. The majority, if you look at the resolution, so that the majority of events that would need a special event, which is, affecting traffic, public places, interfering with public use of public places, that's probably 90-95% is is going to be down at the partnership, which you all have already taken care of. The rest is going to be like what you have in front of you tonight, which are going to really be more the running or walking, those sorts of things where the city streets are used and have to be marked off. So we're talking about also not only, I think we've evolved, but also the number is going to greatly decrease as well. And like I said, most cities, this is handled at the administrative level.
Okay. Commissioners, any other discussion, questions, or comments?
I have a question. When we do get an application, will it be in the consent calendar that's coming up, or will we be just, kind of know what's going on? Will that be found in our consent calendar? Or
A list special that we approve, that
Yeah.
would be, we would do that.
Yeah, because that's one thing that if someone comes in, it gives the public, availability to comment on it. So that's one thing that I think that would be good to give it to y'all, because I think you can handle it and make sure traffic control and everything else that's needed for it. But I don't like taking public comment away. But then also, if we can get, even whether this passes or not, if we can get a calendar, because some of these things get passed a year in advance, and we don't remember what's what. If we can somehow have a calendar of what's happening, and then also maybe an estimate of how many people are going to be at that, so that they kind of know, oh, there's going to be 500 people at the light this weekend, or 3,000 at the visitor center, so then that way they kind of have an idea.
I think that's a really good idea. I think if anything, in trying to make it more efficient, I think we realize we need to work on the communication, which we will work on this month, but I think that's part of it, to make sure that we can be efficient with your all's time and also communicate with the public so they know ahead of time what's going on. So I think all those are really good ideas.
Yeah, I'd like to associate myself with Commissioner Hendrick's comment. I think having a calendar would be useful. Something that we could use as a board of commissioners, but also could be shared with our citizens.
So I have some questions.
Commissioner Jennings.
This is a one-pager that takes the place of an ordinance that's 7 or 8 pages long. It even has the format for the permit in the existing ordinance. This allows any format. Well, you can shake your head.
Well, I'll explain. Go ahead and ask your question. I'm
Okay,
happy
and
to
then
explain.
there's all kinds of ambiguities in here. For instance, in the title, it says the approved authority to the city manager or their designee. Who is there?
Yeah.
If it's the city manager, it should say, or the city manager's designee.
Yeah.
Then there's one down here in part 2 that's not clear at all, and I don't think it's the same thing that's in our existing ordinance. It says you need one of these if you're any way in which you promote, organize, control, manage, solicit, or induce participation in a special event or a private gathering where a temporary street closure is requested under a special event packet. The current one says if you have more than, I don't remember the exact number, 200 people, you have to have a permit. It doesn't say anything about street closure. So this is a different requirement than what's in our current. Then if you go down to part 1, it has including but not limited in the following. That's blank.
So,
I think there's supposed to be things there.
Let me try and I'll ask city manager
Okay.
to clarify. This ordinance is not repealing the existing special events ordinance. It's not replacing it, except for these sections here in 9503, 9506, and 9507. And so I think that's where this text is being replaced. So just to clarify, and city manager, you can clarify as well, that this doesn't repeal or replace the existing ordinance. It just changes the places where it says Board of Commissioners in that existing ordinance to city manager or designee. And I believe, we're sort of our city staff is very streamlined. And by that, I mean, there's 2 people that might be in the office at any given time. But city manager, can you clarify?
And Commissioner, I apologize that we didn't make that as clear on the ordinance. So that is language straight out of what is highlighted is the only thing that was changed. Before next month, I will go through and review and make sure I can change the title to the city manager's designee. But there's been no change at all as far as, we're not proposing to change anything except for where it says Board of Commissioners. It's been put in city manager and their designee. So I apologize for not making that as clear as we could on that.
Just to echo the others, I think it's important that the commissioners know what special events are going to come up and when they're going to happen, and have an opportunity to chime in if there's something. So putting it in the consent calendar so people could say, wait a minute, I want to discuss that and pull it out, makes perfect sense to me. Because I get people asking me, is there a marathon down our street this weekend? Because our street's real popular for those. And I want to be able to say, yes, you better not be on the street at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like I said, I think lesson learned tonight, communication can improve.
Okay. Good comments. Any further comments? Questions? Okay. All in favor of approving ordinance number 353-26-1C, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay. The motion is approved with 4 yea votes with Commissioner Jenkins opposed. Okay. Let's move to the next item. This is passed on first reading. Let's move to the next item on our agenda. This is a special event permit approval for the Tour de Rocky Top to be held on July the 11th, 2026. I'll share some information with you about it, and then we'll ask for a motion in a second and get it up for discussion. So this event is hosted by Race Day Events, Martin Coleman. I don't see Martin among our attendees tonight. The event name is Tour de Rocky Top, and it will be held on July 11th from 7:30 to 4 p.m. This is a cycling event. I think we've had this one before. Cyclists to use the outside lane of 321 to travel west as a group for 3 miles before turning. No police support is requested. And the place where they'll be hosting this event is the Peaceful Side Social at 7967 East Lamar Alexander Parkway. The event is an organized cycling event. It features several road race distance options. The ride is fully supported by Race Day Events, several rest stations and support vehicles. A post-meal ride is provided. This is the 20th year of the event, with the first 18 staged from Barley's and Knoxville. So Peaceful Side Social was the staging point for 2025. I remember this. Let's see. I think other things. They've got, they'll have a tent, they'll have 10 trash cans. Anticipated attendance is 300 people. Volunteer groups man 6 rest stops and receive donations. And I think that's all I can share with you about this event. So with that, can I have a motion and a second to approve this special event permit for Tour de Rocky Top?
Make a motion to accept the application for Tour de Rocky Top.
And have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussions or questions about this event? Commissioner Hendricks?
It says no police support, but how do they get onto the road? I mean, do they wait for the cars to clear and get on there, or do they all just whoosh and
So sure, I can tell you that last year we not had any issue with them at all, or any reported issue, or a lot of these folks are experienced at riding on the street. It's a whole other thing that they know the rules of the road. So.
Yeah, they have the support vehicles, and I think, they are permitted to use the highways. Okay, any other questions? Okay. All in favor of approving the special event application for Tour de Rocky Top, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the special event application is approved. All right, that brings us down to public input for items not on the agenda. Do we have anybody else signed up to speak, or would anybody else like to come and speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, well, Commissioner Heather.
I was asked by somebody recently about the swinging bridge, if we have any updates on that. I know Commissioner Aker had asked the highway department if they could help out fixing that. And that was a while ago. I don't think anybody from our district followed through on that or asked about that. He was the only one, and I didn't know if we had any updates.
Yes, City Manager.
Yeah, I spoke with Road Superintendent Hendrick. The county is still willing to help us with that. There have been some legwork done previously for the getting the MOUs together and getting the right-of-ways together so we can get everything before it starts to work. Our attorney is talking with the county attorney, and so that is where it's at, is with the attorneys to make sure everything is there. And then also with the highway superintendent, with the highway department helping us out, that's going to, they're going to have to be able to do that when they're not paving or other projects, so.
I know that several months ago, there was survey work done on the Townsend side of the bridge to define where the existing right-of-way is on the gentleman's property title.
Yeah.
And so that's marked. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't know if they surveyed also on the other side or not.
My understanding is that information has been collected now. They're just working out, getting everything.
Is there any chance we can get whatever information they have? Obviously, there's some kind of report that the surveyor wrote or somebody. It'd be nice to have something that we could actually see or read.
Yeah, I would think that any MOU would be contingent of commission approval.
Yeah.
So y'all should get the full packet before anything is, ready to go.
I'd kind of like to know as they go along, some kind of status.
Yeah, I can work on that. I can talk, yeah.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, it brings us down to announcements and statements. Do we have any announcements and statements to share? Okay. Hearing none, that brings us to our last item, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Okay, motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.